All right, today we're continuing our discussion of four-part cadential writing. And today we're going to talk about what Icherman likes to call the Galant Cadence. And you'll remember from three-voice writing that our Galant Cadence, we had the top voices moving in parallel thirds or parallel sixths with each other. And the Neapolitan cadence was a special type of the Galant cadence where we did Ra instead of the re, and so we have those voices moving in together. Let's take a look at some musical examples and see this parallelism in the upper voices and get some nice looks at Galant cadences here. So we're going to go ahead and start off. This is an excerpt from the violin Sonatina in A major by Schubert. And we'll take a listen to the excerpt and then we'll talk about the cadential structures. Nice jaunty little number, but look at the cadence here. You can tell it's a cadence. It's got nice basizans, sol, so, do. Compound cadence. We've got that cadential 6/4 resolving to the 5/3. We've got a seventh of the chord showing up here, E to the D. There's a seventh. We'll talk about dominant seventh chords in just a couple of more class periods. But over the top of it, look at these nice parallels in the voices. So I've got a mi, re, do as our tenorizans in the melody. Underneath it, moving parallel thirds, do, ti, coming back in, resolving to the do, ti, do. There's our cantizans. So our tenorizans and our cantizans are moving in parallel thirds. Of course, if I were to invert them and flip them around so that the do, ti, do was on top, then they'd be moving in parallel sixths through that portion. Notice as well that our altizans is also moving in parallels with them. Sol, fa, mi. So I've got kind of, three sets of parallels moving down here. It almost looks like the good old four bow tone that we were doing in three-part writing. But we just put together the sol, fa, mi and the do, ti, do. Or if I wanted to have the fifth of the chord at the end, I could frustrate that leading tone, do, ti, sol. I could have gone to a sol here. We've had a full chord at the end. And the mi, re, do on top. And so those voices just fit together and make a nice short Galant cadence. Now this is, Icherman refers to this as an incomplete Galant cadence because if you look here, it starts on do. So we've got tonic going to sol, 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 so going to our authentic area, back to tonic. We didn't have a plagal area. And so Icherman likes to use the term incomplete to describe a cadence that just went from tonic to authentic back to tonic, no plagal in there. And we'll use the complete to represent that we went the full tonic, plagal, authentic, tonic cycle in the cadence. Let's take a look at another example here by Schubert. All right, this is from a little bit further in the same violin sonatina. Notice that we shifted here from A major to A minor at this point. Let's take a listen. Nice. That's such a nice dramatic sound, that A minor, all of a sudden. So notice here, do, mi, or do, me, because we're minor, me, fa, sol, do. It's our favorite bass line ever. Do, fa, sol, do, or me, fa, sol, do, depending on which of these notes you view as being your structural cadence notes there. And over the top, notice these lovely little lines happening here. Do, re, ti, do. And moving in parallel sixths underneath it. Me, fa, re, me. So there's those parallel sixths indicating our Galant cadence. Yeah, of course, we could invert them, then they'd be parallel thirds. So those parallel thirds, parallel sixths, that's what we're looking for. Now, the four-voice writing, notice that the fourth voice is also moving in parallel with those voices. Sol, le, fa. We could go sol to sol, but it's going to fa, bring it down to the me. If I wanted that full chord at the end, the do, me, and a sol, that voice would go very nicely if it went sol, la, fa, sol. There'd be nothing wrong with that. We also have this really, really crunchy set of suspensions at the end on this one. Suspensions, and the one that goes upwards, retardation. 4/3 suspension, 9/8 suspension, and the T do. There's our retardation at the end. That's what gives it the drama. Love that. All right. Staying in the whole concept of doing violin sonatas, violin sonatinas, but changing now from Schubert to Beethoven, we have the Beethoven Violin Sonata in A major. Before I go on, go back really quickly. Notice that this one, I didn't get that cadential 6/4. That's why we were skipping notes. Do, re, ti, do. We have here a simple cadence. I only have the one element happening over the top of the sol. Went straight to the sol 7/5/3. If he'd wanted to milk it a little bit more, he could have done that cadential 6/4, had the compound cadence, and then do, re, do, ti, do. We can just put that, and it works nicely in all the voices. Sol, la, sol, fa, me, fa, me, re, do would be a good place to go, or me, fa, me, re, me. You could always do that in the inner voice. And so adding in those passing tones then creates that cadential 6/4 over the top of the sol, which Beethoven, I think, is going to show us some examples of. The first Schubert was a incomplete compound Galant cadence. The second Schubert showed a complete simple Galant cadence. Let's take a look at the Beethoven. Half cadence. That was a good cadence. Half cadence. Oh, and something fancy at the end. We'll get to it in a moment. But let's take a look at these cadences one by one. So half cadence, of course, we had this nice little four bourdon coming down, these parallel 6/3 chords decorated by 7/6 suspensions. But I get the do sol, nice, simple, incomplete, half cadence, just tonic straight to plagal. Not plagal, no plagal, no plagal. That's why it's incomplete. Tonic straight to authentic, do to sol. And you can see we only get half of our difference on. So I didn't get do sol do in the bass. I got do sol in the bass, leaving me halfway through. Do ti do would want to come back in the cantizans. Mi re. I only got half of the tenorizans there, so definite half cadence there. But our more interesting cadence was this one, nice complete cadence, because we got the do, fa, sol, do. We make it all the way through tonic, through plagal, to authentic, back to tonic. Notice, by the way, hopefully you've been picking up on this little detail. The other day, when we were doing our plagal chords, they were all fa 6/5/3 chords, with the dissonant do resolving to the T. Notice today we're looking at fa 6/3 chords. It doesn't have the do in it. It doesn't have a do in it. And so we're not going do, 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 ti, do in our cantizans. We're going do, re, do, ti, do in our cantizans. So tracing our different voices, the blues, the tenorizans. Notice these parallel thirds between the tenorizans and the cantizans. Do and mi, re and fa, do and mi, ti and re. That cadential 6/4 chord resolving down there. We've got a frustrated leading tone in this cantizan, so it's filling in the full chord, jumping down from the T to the sol to give us the fifth of the chord. And yeah, our altizans also following right along in the same parallels with the other voices. Sol, la, sol, fa, me. Me, re, me. Yeah. Me, fa, me, re, do. We're in a minor key, B minor for a moment. Me, fa, me, re, do, re, do, ti, frustrating it, sol, and sol, la, sol, fa, me. Let's see if we can just listen to just the cadence. Yeah, great example of that. It's a complete compound Galant cadence. All right, we've got another half cadence. This one's a half, notice that we've got the cantizans in the bass. So it's a half discant cadence. Instead of going do, sol, do, ti, we still have the mi, re, and the do, re, and the sol, sol. Again, altizans there. No bassizans because there's the discant is in the bass there. But now here comes our interesting cadence. And this is a really interesting one. So here's our mi, fa, sol, sol, do. So it's complete tonic, plagal, authentic tonic. It's compound because we have that cadential 6/4 resolving there. And some of the lines that we're used to seeing here. There's our do, 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 ti, do. Do, 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 ti, do. There's our cantizans. Notice this one's a fa 5/3. It's not going do, re, do, ti, do. It's just going do, 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 ti, do. So it's more of the whole, more of those fa 6/5 type sound with that dissonant do. But the line I want to call your attention to is this blue line up here. Sol, la, do, re, do. And we have a do, re, do. At the same time, we've got do, ti, do. That's one of the features of what we call a Marburg cadence, so named for the theorist, the German theorist that described this cadence in his treatise back in the 18th century, Marburg. And there's the parallel thirds, or parallel sixths in this case. There we go. Do, re, do, and mi, fa, mi. So there's our parallel motion going on here. And then the cantizans do, ti, do. And especially, it's often the case that you'll decorate the do, re, do. You'll decorate with do, mi, re, do, and get that decoration in there. Let's go ahead and hear the Marburg cadence here. Special subtype of the Galant cadence. See if we can select the measure instead of the note. Right. Yeah, that do, mi, re, do, such a characteristic melodic gesture of that Marburg cadence. The same basic voices that we've been working with all along. Cantizans, tenorizans, altizans. It's really easy to write a cadence if you write your voices correctly. Some neat chromatic passing tones in this one too. Not just sol, la, but sol, si, la. And not just fa, sol, but fa, fi, sol. So some chromaticism in there. And speaking of chromaticism, I think we're going to look at some Mozart that has some chromaticism. Yes, from the string quartet, Kirkel 168. Second movement. So this is going to deal with the specific type of the Galant cadence called the Neapolitan cadence. And then the Neapolitan cadence, of course, we have not the vanilla do, not the chocolate re. We've got right in between this ra berry. So it's got the ra do, ti do. Or in the simple version, ra, ti, do. Easterman likes to call this, the Neapolitan turns, where you go ra, ti, do, in whatever key of the moment it may be. So there's a ra, ti, do in G minor. That's a ra, ti, do in C minor. Oh, here we're going to get you think we're getting a cadence, because there's fa, sol, sol. And you're thinking fa, sol, sol, do. There's a nice little bassizans. And even the different, you're expecting a ra, do, ti, do, and a re, sol, fa, me, there, and me, re, or fa, me, re, do there. And you can see we've got the surprise chord. It doesn't resolve the cadential 6/4. The 5 is flatter than it should be. It's a lowered fifth. It's a ra instead of a re. I'm not getting my T. I'm getting a te. So that's not right. And then this crazy raised sixth above that. We're expecting not a sixth, but like a seventh maybe. And so Mozart completely blows our expectations and completely evades the cadence that we were kind of expecting. And then the cadence that we're going to look at is at the end. So let's go ahead and take a listen now, and we'll focus in on that cadence at the end, the Neapolitan cadence. Ooh, and again, those dissonances, some of the voices resolve the cadence and some of them hang on and create retardations and suspensions. It's so dramatic when you do that. All right, so there's our typical tonic, plagal, authentic tonic, do, fa, sol, do, our bassizans that we're expecting. Fa 6-3, typical of the Galant cadence. Notice I've lowered the sixth. Instead of going re, do, ti, do, we're going ra, do, ti, do. And there's our Neapolitan cadence, that ra, do, ti, do, typically in the melody because we want to really hear that ra. Here's our parallel motion, as we've got down here in our viola, our fa, me, re, me, in parallel sixths with our cantizans, our tenorizans moving parallel sixths with that. And then a really boring altizans line, lay, sol, sol, sol. It could have gone lay, sol, fa, me. That would be more interesting, but it works nicely with the boring version too. Lay, sol, sol, sol. So let's listen to just those two measures again for our cadence. Yeah, and then that suspension and retardation at the end. Great stuff. All right, so Galant cadences, where we have those parallel thirds or parallel sixths moving. Often the altizans is joining in the parallel motion, unless, as in this Mozart, it's going to do the boring altizans, lay, sol, 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 or la, sol, sol, sol. But if you want to do parallels with everything else, la, sol, fa, mi works great. So we'll let you do some exercises, practice writing some of these cadences.